So, does something like this or Streets of Rage deserve to be brought back? Maybe, but honestly, I kind of think that they're perfect for their time and they should stay there. They symbolized an era that's far gone, and games like Dynasty Warriors today kind of emulate that modern day successor beat 'em up style. So, the spirit of the games do kind of live on in some degree, but as far as I'm concerned, they were great as they were, and they should stay that way.
Yeah, I've been eating a little bit of crow for the last year and a half with stupid statements like that because, hey, we've been proven wrong. We've actually been getting some pretty cool brawler games over the last couple of years. Maybe I'll get nice things due to my pessimistic attitude. Hey, maybe if I keep complaining about it enough, I might get a new Red Faction game, or I can badger Obsidian into giving me an Alpha Protocol too. I'm confident I've had my Retro Guy card torn 5 times past Sunday, but Battletoads historically has been a franchise that I have dogged, and I make no apologies for that. Maybe it's a case of the series beating me, but there's many a difficult game that I can easily enjoy. I don't recall ever wanting to bite my Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse cartridge in half. When it comes to Battletoads, I try to get better, but frustration kicks in, eradicating all of the skill that I think I accumulated, so it was never really worth my time. Battletoads and Battle Maniacs and the Ultimate Team still retain incredibly snug difficulty, but I feel like they're better games. When at E3 2018 Xbox rolled out that new trailer for a resurgence of Battletoads after 26 years, I was pretty intrigued. Initially because the new art style captivated me, it reminded me of Teen Titans Go or The Amazing World of Gumball, 2 shows that I'm a pretty big fan of. And if you ask me, this reimagining of the Toads splashed with modern comedic stylings fits more than attempting to recapture the animals with attitudes lore that's pretty much outdated. In my eyes, the success of a reboot are measured by its ability to reinvent certain intangibles to keep it from feeling like a time capsule that only caters to a niche audience. The writing is also incredibly self-aware and seldom lets up opportunities to take a jab at the franchise and even itself.
We checked the wiring and these morons been in there for 26 years living a simulated fantasy life. And I mean, they stink.
26 years in a fantasy bunker? You'd have to be gullible not to figure that one out. So, Frogs, how you feeling? Stupid?
We're not frogs. We're toads.
The Battletoads.
We're famous superheroes.
This just in. No, you're not.
So the plot of the game is the Toads were sealed away for 24 years in a reality simulating bunker. Upon breaking out, they learn that their status as heroes is long gone and they wander around as these obsolete relics unable to fit in with the modern world. Looking to restore their former status, they set out to defeat the Dark Queen.
Listen, I've been up all night mimicking the methods of TV detectives. Tracking, triangulating, enhance, and I pinpointed the precise location of the Dark Queen.
Could you pinpoint a dumpster and burn that diaper?
This is the Dark Queen we're talking about, remember? She nearly destroyed the galaxy, I think, but we beat her up, which sent her, and I want to say, spinning into space, and we can do it again.
Only to learn that her powers were stolen by powerful intergalactic beings called the Topians. This leads to a truce between the two in order to take down their overarching foe.
Okay, Queen, you have exactly 10 seconds to explain yourself. Go!
I'm being held prisoner in this park by a race of celestial aliens named the Topians who stole my powers and hired a giant guardian to block my escape. I've secretly been using radiation to create sentient carnival toys that I hoped would mutate into fierce warriors, but instead came out brassy, all about the holidays, and anatomically correct, to name a few. We devised a plan to topple the guard and travel the cosmos to defeat the Topian overlords, thus freeing the galaxy and restoring the power I lost 26 years ago, then time permitting, get that naked toy some pants.
Why would she get the pants last?
I do appreciate that certain aspects of the original lore were left out, like Princess Angelica and Dr. Beaker or Professor Bird, T-Hawk. I don't remember what his name is. He's not. I freaking hated that character so much because all he ever did was talk trash to you for losing the game. You're supposed to be the ultimate team. Don't make me laugh. You're not out there freaking coming up Snake Eyes on the speeder. Yep, no mention of Big Black, Robo-Manus, General Vermin, and the aforementioned Princess Angelica and T-Hawk. They're all dead, as far as I'm concerned. Good. I like the satire more, so I personally find this a little more appealing.
My frigging butt, you backstabbing punks! So Jug my dump truck, you stinky wimps! Beep, beep! Garbage butt backing up!
For the most part. And I feel I have a better read on the personalities of the Battletoads. Rash is relatively brainless and carefree and the most aloof of the team. Zitz is the leader, frankly I didn't even know that any of these three had designated roles, who has a superiority complex. Pimple is the muscle, but instead of just being a brute, he's the most patient and rational. Like Huey, Dewey, and Louie in the DuckTales reboot, these personality quirks help make them more distinct and distinguished. And then there's the Dark Queen.
I know our history is complicated. I mean, you sent me spinning off into space. No hard feelings. Much respect. But now that you're here, we can execute my plan to defeat the Topians together.
These Topians, are they famous?
Infamous.
I'm in!
Hot take. I love her. For a cartoon villainess in 2020, being placed in a tweener role, her comedic timing is pretty effective.
Queen, please. I don't want to rush into another unnecessary fight.
Good point.
Thank you.
Counterpoint. This is a perfect opportunity to test the ship's weaponry before Topian City. Pimple?
Nope.
They do address her appearance in another on-the-nose little bit.
Dark Queen? You look different than I remember.
Hello again, Jeffrey. We're looking for the secret entrance to Topian City. Will you help us?
I refuse to help these cretins, Queen. Dump the frogs, then we can talk. I'm sorry, but it absolutely has to be said. This new outfit?
Thank you, Jeffrey. You've made this much, much easier.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
I guess we've changed, Jeff. I've grown more impatient, and you want to control what I'm wearing. Like you're entitled to it because we hung out 20 years ago.
Maybe over speculation on my part, but I can't shake the feeling like there was an awkward edit there, like a joke that they probably cut out for the sake of receiving backlash. You see the Toads react to something that Jeff says, and then the Queen's mood completely changes, so I feel like that something might have been cut. The flow was way too awkward for me to not notice.
It absolutely has to be said. This new outfit?
Thank you, Jeffrey. You've made this much, much easier.
Yeah, this was clearly the most contentious topic surrounding Battletoads, and probably the reason why this game disappeared for most of 2019. Rare and Xbox were probably hoping for a lot of that heat to die down. Longtime fans would probably blame SJWs and the threat of cancel culture in today's climate for this change, and it's apparent that that probably played a drastic deal in her overhaul to the original design. My personal take on it isn't really focusing on what she no longer is, but what they've decided to do with her in the here and now. I'm willing to be surprised by something by giving it a chance. Because this Battletoads has a more comedic tone, I feel this transition works. So she may not be the dish that she was back in the 90s, but I think that there's enough of a blend of charming wit, brash ruthlessness, and just enough of being a childish brat to make her very entertaining to me. Or maybe I'm just easily amused. Well, it's a beat-em-up. The combos are really fun to pull off, as Delilah Studios, I don't know if I butchered that name or not, and Rare crafted some pretty creative combo windows. There's launchers for air juggles, saliva that can be spat on enemies to momentarily stun them, or in the case of certain baddies, drop their defenses. I did have a mild problem keeping track of which enemies needed to be hit and which ones needed to be disarmed in order to strike them. Especially with all the action that goes on the screen, it gets mildly disorienting. Rash, Zitz, and Pipple have varying strikes at different speeds. Maybe it was me, but I actually found Rash to be the trickiest to use. He plays like the character that's supposed to be solid all around with no real standout feats, yet his attacks have some delay to them. I mostly used Rash as a glorified meat shield, and I let Pimple and Zitz do a lot of the heavy lifting. To break up the monotony of wailing on the weak, strong, and special buttons, there's also a lot of intermittent puzzles throughout. I guess to spice up variety. I get what they were going for here, but I'm chalking this up to a little bit of fusebox syndrome. It's something that makes my back teeth itch in a game is when I have to stop, stand in front of a panel when there's no enemies, just spinning analog sticks in a circle just to open a door. Battletoads' little splint of icon matching, mazes, circuit connecting, and while they aren't particularly hard, they can border on tedious. At least they're brain teasers, so I'm not completely wasting my time. Then the game kinda gets a little bit weird. Portions that don't really come off as stages at first suddenly demand interaction. I sometimes kind of like this, but it certainly caught me off guard more often than not. And it is completely different, so credit where it's due there. Some of these really did play on my brain. During Act 3, Stage 6, Rock in a Hard Place, this is a reflex minigame, and various years of certain button placements wreaked havoc on my ability to remember where the X button is, and if you miss, you have to keep doing it. This can burn in hell. There's also some bullet hell shmup stages tossed in because, Battletoads. They aren't that hard, but it feels like they go on a little bit longer than they need to, and the ships are absolute bullet sponges. I can just feel my vision starting to swim. Along with the return of the speeder bike levels, now done at a Z-axis perspective, which does ease a little bit of pressure on my blood capillaries, Battletoads aims to be a real jack-of-all-trades, though not truly a master of any one of them. As stated, I think there's a great deal of personality with the redesign of the Toads. This might not be popular, but I'm so glad that they weren't overly detailed, warty monstrosities that appear in like that. It's fine for Killer Instinct, that's enough nostalgia jollies in my book. The animation is seamless from cutscenes to gameplay. The cartoony attacks that the Toads are known for are done pretty well and highlight each persona of the team well. Some of the transformations are a little overly absurd, like Pimple's launcher turns him into a werewolf. It's simultaneously silly and boring because I'm actually thinking, why does he turn into a werewolf? That's a little bit ridiculous. But then Zitz becomes a laser blasting sonic waves robot thing, and I'm okay with that. But what's even wrong with me? Maybe Toads is a little overly saturated and a touch rich, but I take it over the jury hues of modern games, so I kind of complain about that a lot. 8.5 out of 10. I give a lot of props to the voice acting. Even if a joke doesn't necessarily land, the delivery kind of saves it for me.
Hey, intruders, the soon-to-be famous
Battletoads?
It's the Queen! Punch! Let go, Pimple!
You're not punching a baby.
But it's ugly!
Drop the ugly baby!
Don't really drop it, though. Just set it down gently.
I'm a fan of the soundtrack. There's plenty of tasty electric guitar riffs courtesy of David Howson. The arrangement of the Battletoads theme I really enjoy, and there's also a pretty awesome remix of the theme from the Ultimate Team. There may not be a great deal of variety, but if you're a fan of progressive shred metal, you might get a kick out of this. The music tracks and the VA performances from Soyaban Hewitt, I think I said that right, as the Dark Queen, and Echo Kellum as Pimple really stand out to me. I give the audio a 7 out of 10. Overall, Battletoads 2020 overcomes a lot of the perceived negative press that it got, and I think it ends up being a pretty good quality brawler. Because it's a brawler, don't expect a great deal, but I think that with a lot of the combo windows, and with a lot of the control functions, the various minigames, they do a lot of things to flesh this out instead of having it be as linear as a brawler is probably going to be. I'm not going to call this a comeback for Rare, but a game like this really feels very much in the spirit of something like Double Dragon Neon. Hell, it's even a better cartoon than that crappy pilot from the early 90s. I overall give it a 7.5 out of 10. Battletoads has found its place in the modern times. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here, or if this becomes a thing.
Jeff is fine. Jeff is fine.
It's a weird thing to say. Can I talk to him?
This is Jeff.
Jeff, you sound different.
I have pink eye.
Pink eye doesn't change how you sound.
I mean, pink mouth?
So sorry, it's super pink. Gotta go.
Yo, Scully, pizza rolls are up. You coming?
Well, now. What do you say? Should I tell him?